another.
We're seen more, and where other women and the younger generation and people within our generation.
Melanin goddess that's before me. Hello.
Hey, turn up. I'm not that. Thank you.
Up on another act, I chat with Christina Milian about why she put making music on pause, being a mom, and Latinx representation. A real life pop star portraying a pop star in a new film. This sounds familiar. Does any part of this new role mirror your life at all?
Absolutely. Definitely. Erica's life mirrors mine very much so, actually. One, I mean, her love for music is just like above and beyond anything that could it can't be shadowed by anything. And I understand that feeling. I mean, I grew up as a child loving music and wanting it so bad. I dreamed it about being on stage and doing what I do today. So living the dream has been amazing. And Erica's trying to reach that. And unfortunately, she's has her heart broken and musically, by things not going, planned as planned. And I mean, I've definitely been through that. I mean, I've lost record deals. I've made albums and had to throw them out, scrap them out, and start from scratch all over again. I've been through it when it comes to the love of music. So I get what Erica's going through.
I also love that Alicia Keys is behind this film. How did this project first come to you in the first place?
My manager heard about it. I had just done a movie with Netflix called Falling in Love, and it did very well. I was really happy with it. And we were looking to do another project together. And I guess she got her hands on this script somehow. I really don't know how she did, but I'm happy she did. And I honestly didn't think I would get it, to be real with you, because I was pregnant at the time with my son, Isaiah. So I was like, oh, they probably got to shoot this in like a month and I'm not going to be ready. I'm still pregnant. I'm not even having a baby for like another 2 months. And what do you know, like months kind of went by, and then all of a sudden it popped back up on the radar. And then there was the pandemic. So it put it out a little bit longer. And it just ended up fitting in the right place in my life at the right time. And they actually thought I would be good for the role. So that's how it came up initially.
Yeah, I'm glad it worked out for you. How did you begin to prepare to play Erica?
As far as preparation goes, I mean, mentally, I understood her story. I went to the studio and recorded it with Harvey Mason Jr. We did like all 6 songs that are in the movie within like a 4-hour period that day. And as far as preparation goes, we had about 2 weeks of quarantine in Mauritius. So a lot of the time, me and the other actors would FaceTime each other because we couldn't see each other in person. So we would FaceTime each other and kind of do like little chemistry reads with each other of certain scenes so that we could see what we felt about it, how we liked it. Did it seem natural? Did it seem real? So those were my preparation times, and I did some working out. I was getting my workout on because I didn't know if I was going to be in a bathing suit. Otherwise, that was about it. That was it. I just live in the moment when I do the scenes.
You talked earlier about heartbreak, experiencing heartbreak in the world of the music industry. And it seems like, your music career outside looking in has taken a bit of a pause to your acting career. How did you arrive at choosing and making one more amplified over the other? Because there was a moment where you were giving us bops and bops and bops. And then all of a sudden we started seeing you more in an acting space as opposed to music.
To be honest with you, it's one of my favorite careers or jobs. It's one of my favorite things to do because I love the challenge of it all. Another reason why it's kind of taken precedence is because I've now got a family. And when you have children, you kind of have to outweigh certain decisions.
Do you miss the music though? And did this film make you miss the music in some way?
Yeah, there's definitely parts of me that misses it. It misses just like hearing your song on the radio. Or I don't I do get offers all the time to do performances and I take them, so I'm not going to say I've quit and I've thrown in the towel. Certain opportunities come up where I've gone on tours or just done shows and performances, and it fills that void of like, hey, I'm still a musician. I'm still an artist.
Yeah.
And then you got films like this where I get to play it out. So it's even more fun. So.
Yeah. I loved hearing how basically having a family and being a mom pushed you further into your acting career. What about the roles that you choose specifically? Like, how does motherhood play a role in what you say yes to and what you probably say no to more often than not?
Ooh, that's a good question. I mean, I want my daughter and I want my kids to be proud of the things that I do. And when they see them later, to enjoy them. I tend to pick a lot of comedies sometimes. But then, I mean, there's roles that I've done even as of late. I wouldn't necessarily say I want my daughter to watch. I just did something with stars called Step Up. And there's certain things I would love for them to see as far as like the challenge of being an actress. You know, when I get into my roles, I like to dive into them so that if my kids in the future, I would like them to see that if you want to do something, to take it seriously.
You know, Christina, this time last year, we were all talking about this lack of Latinx representation in Hollywood right after the Emmy announcements. And again, earlier this year, after the Academy Award nominations. Do you think that there has been any progression? You know, has there been some action behind some of those conversations, as far as you can tell, as on-screen talent?
You know, I think we're talking about it a little bit more. I think we have a ways to go. I think we have definitely a long way to go, because I think we're now starting to implement more cultures. We're starting to recognize, and I think people can only take so much at a time. So, you know, if you throwing you're like, hey, don't forget about us. Don't forget about us. Don't forget about us. What about us over here? There's so many different, like, you know, there's Indian, there's the Asian population, there's Black, African-American, we're trying to make sure that we are more inclusive. And I think we're slowly getting there. And I think a lot of people just didn't know until we talk about it more, that there is an African or a Black Latin populate that we exist. We exist. I've talked about it so many times. You have no idea, since the beginning of my career. And let's just say it was either overshadowed, or if it might have been a minute part of the conversation, but they never really took it serious. And I think now is the time, you know, with Black Lives Matter. And then you see people like my friend Karuchi, who just won. She's like the first Asian American woman to win an Emmy. You know, I'm so proud of her, but it also sheds light on who she is and who her people are and where she comes from. So we all get a chance as long as we keep pushing, we keep talking about it.
I love that. When did you realize that you could and you should use your voice in that way? Because some of these films and roles that we're talking about, you were very young coming to the table saying, we need to inject some culture here. This person has to be, you know, Afro-Latina. So tell me a little bit about that.
Well, a lot of that happened because based on the start of my career, you know, we worked really hard to even just get, you know, just to get like the girl number one role, or the girl that had like 2 lines on a TV show or something. And to be real with you, like my real last name is Flores. And when I first started my career, it was hard to get any job because Flores is very Latina, and they didn't think of me as Latina. I changed my last name to Milian, which is my mom's maiden last name, because it was just kind of, people didn't really understand and know what it was. And because it was such a topic and such an issue, and because people talk about it so much, especially at the beginning of my career on the internet, you go on Google, and the number one question was, what is she? We wanted to make sure that there was something authentic. And I like to make sure there's some authenticity to who I am, and also shed more light on the Latinx community. Now we call it Latinx, but I'm Afro-Latina community, you know, that we're around, and so that we can create more jobs for ourselves and for other people and opportunities.
We know how important it is because it tells the story of who we all are, you know, as a people.
Representation is important.
Yeah.
Growing up, I grew up in Maryland, and I just, you know, when I grew up in the suburbs, you know, in school, it was kind of this thing of like, what are you? You can only be Black or white. And they didn't understand like Latina either at all. And they'd be like, you know, I just dealt with so much. And, but my family was the core of everything. It didn't make me question anything. My family said, you're brown. Okay. Tell them that. And that was my answer. And I knew it and I felt it. I didn't feel like I had to make a choice. And it was my job to let people know that I'm different and get to know who I am. Guess what? I'm in the mix too, homie. So we can be everything and we can be friends. So, yeah.
I
Anyway.
love that. And then look at where it all has brought you. So that's even more amazing.
Heck.
You're not only
Yeah.
a singer and an actor, you're also an entrepreneur. Tell me a little bit about that journey for you, because that feels relatively new too in the restaurant space, right?
In the restaurant space, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, part of my career and watching people like Puff Daddy and 50 Cent and watching people like J-Lo and all these people that became like these entrepreneurs. I remember seeing them and being like, I want to be more than just an entertainer. I want to, I want to have my own perfume. I want to have my own restaurant. I want to have my own vodka, vitamin water. That's also part of branding, but some of them were things that they kind of like, started from the very beginning and grew it as a business. I just didn't have time to wait for branding to happen. So I was like, I'm going to have to be an entrepreneur. So, in the beginnings, I've started off very many businesses, but one of them that seems to be working the best right now is my beignet business. And I have it with my best friend. It's called Beignet Box. And we started with a food truck. And the food truck, we started in Studio City. And since then, we've opened another food truck, and we have two stores that we've opened, and we're growing. And it's really exciting because it's only been 2 years. And this is something that came from two best friends, two women, that it was really hard even just getting investors or getting anybody to even want to do anything with us. It was so hard. This is like a 5-year long project, and it didn't kick off until we had to make it happen ourselves. So I'm really proud to see it flourish and where it's gone and where we're continuing to go. And I think it's going to bring a lot of other people opportunities, because people will be able to franchise eventually as well too. So
I love it. Oh, Christina Milian, I'm so glad I finally got to talk to you. I've never interviewed you before, so this is so amazing. Thank you so much for doing this today.
This is cool. Thank
Alrighty,
you.
bye.